Welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes of Wisdom, a channel dedicated to helping you expand your knowledge and develop a more successful and peaceful mind. My guest today is a mindset and life coach based in Ireland. She has a master's degree in health and clinical psychology. Her business is called Empowering Thought Therapies, or ETT for short. By combining techniques such as NLP, CBT, relationship coaching, logotherapy, by using a holistic approach, she helps her clients to personally develop and thrive. Please welcome to the show the wonderful, multi-talented Tanja Vu. Welcome, Tanja.
Hi.
So nice to see you.
Be here.
Awesome. Great to see you. It's been a while. Thanks for taking the time. It's so interesting. You have so many talents. You know, and it's so diverse. So we'll try to take a little bit of time on each of them. We probably won't be able to get to all of them, considering how multi-talented you are. But let's start by focusing on your relatively new business. So do you want to talk a little bit about ETT?
Thank you, Andrew, first of all, for inviting me. I'm glad to be here. And we were talking about this for some time. And finally, we now have a chance to realize it. About my business. So I was kind of, with this whole situation and 2020, which kind of affected everyone. I was thinking about, how I could use my schooling background, which was in psychology and kind of more classical approach to psychotherapy, and then kind of combine it with more like spiritual approach, which I'm also very interested in my whole life, and I was researching upon and experiencing in my everyday life. So I came up with this idea, to have my online business, because before I was kind of a part of the team and part of institutions like schools and even hospitals sometimes. But here in Ireland, we had some lockdowns and related to this pandemic situation and everything. So I was thinking to actually start with my online coaching business, and this is how ETT was born, so to speak. And so I wanted to kind of offer to people something kind of more like a combination between psychotherapy and more kind of spiritual awareness type of coaching, which also includes mindfulness and meditation and some exercises that wouldn't be considered like classical, but they're very valid and they help immensely, with your growth as person.
So if I could stop you there, I just want to ask
sure.
about, so NLP, I mean, I know what it is very well, do neuro-linguistic programming, right? And that's what Tony Robbins was very famous for,
exactly.
That's how he started. Very, very powerful. I've had, the guest, Brady Clifton Bennett, who's an expert in this. He is a Native American who's an expert also in NLP. And he taught me a lot about it. Really, really cool, really amazing techniques. What is CBT? What does that stand for?
CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is another type of therapy. So, it's more in relation to changing your thought patterns, which is actually my main focus in my approach and my coaching anyway. And that's why this kind of psychological type of therapy is very beneficial. A lot of our issues and problems stem from thoughts, like kind of negative thoughts or thoughts that don't serve your most optimal life, as you probably know. We were talking about that before as well. And so I'm including that technique in my coaching as well. And obviously you mentioned NLP. So this technique is also using different modalities like audiovisual and kinesthetic. And so because people are kind of different, so some people are more visual types, other people are more kind of, prone to learn through touch or listening, or so NLP is very good with that. So in combination with all these techniques, and also you mentioned in your introduction that I'm using logotherapy. So I was in this type of kind of surrounding, even like for quite some years, and even my thesis was in logotherapy partially. So logotherapy is healing through meaning, So these are all kind of different kind of parts of the whole. And since I do have this holistic approach, and I do believe in it, because no one approach is the best for everyone. So everyone is different. Everyone hopefully would have a chance to be approached in a different way. And through going through all these techniques over the course of my life, I like to combine them and to create some sort of my own unique approach when dealing with people. And
Yeah, that's great to combine those different techniques and different ways of doing things. Because I was just actually listening to a video this morning
okay,
by a Shaolin monk, and he was talking about the different paths, and was giving a story about going up a mountain and how each person has their own path. So
exactly.
it's like a lot of the times it's not like there's a certain, it's getting the person centered with their own. And that's where I think it's really cool that you also have that spiritual point of view, so you have that understanding, like my path is not your path, which is not the other person's path, which is kind of like when you do, it's like like homework. And I always think of this analogy, like, and you're cheating off somebody next to you, but they have a different test, right? So they're like,
Exactly.
so like you start cheating off of them. I mean, you're gonna be wrong because you have completely different questions, that you have to answer. So it's very unique to each person, and of course their life experience up to whenever they do meet you is completely different, right?
Yeah, I do believe in, like, we are on the spiritual path, all of us. And as you so beautifully said, like, everybody is unique. And there is no authority in that sense to say, oh, you should do only that, or only that approach is valid, or other approaches are not. So I'm completely, resonating with that. And I was always a fighter for freedom of expression, of different types of uniqueness, that people are carrying within them. And that's why I, even on my own journey, like, I was studying science and psychology, and I was trying out different types of stuff and working on myself, I went through loads of schools of thoughts, different workshops, so I kind of only took what resonated with me personally, because I feel when we are in alignment with our own true nature and our own path, then we can offer from that perspective the best to people that we have for them, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And that's why I want to actually combine all those techniques in my approach that I actually believed in. And like I said, everyone is different, so I want to also offer them a choice to have when I'm coaching them. So
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. And like I was saying, it's understanding. So I think that sometimes, and you're the expert, not me, but sometimes I think that looking and saying, well, if you're not on a path to 3D success, let's say,
yes,
money, bigger cars, bigger houses, stuff like that, like there's something wrong with you, right? But that's not it. It's not the it thing at all. That's the it thing if you're in the like a three-dimensional point of view, right?
exactly.
But
Yeah.
that's not the whole picture at all. So maybe you want to speak to that a bit?
Yeah, that's a good subject. I actually had a reality transurfing course. I don't know if you maybe saw it on my YouTube channel. And now recently I started with another course of Neville Goddard, and both of those courses also are connected with law of attraction, manifesting different things. And a lot of people are actually using those techniques for material, like wealth, or I don't know, manifesting their ideal car or house or job, or but that's just one level, as you said, of experience. But not everyone is actually, as you said, interested in it. And so, for example, I for once, I'm not interested in those what I find more superficial aspects, even if they're also serving as some sort of proof that it works, because once you're manifested a car, maybe you will have more faith in something bigger than yourself or your ego to actually guide you through this life, can show you the way to a deeper understanding. And then maybe you let go of those more superficial desires, and then you can come into an alignment with more deeper spiritual journey. I think everything has its purpose, like even the most superficial things that someone can think of, like, oh, why would you want that? Or it all serves the purpose at that particular moment. That's why I don't want to judge people and say, oh, you're wrong for wanting that, or it's not for up to me to kind of be that type of authority. I don't consider myself as that, or anyone else to be an ultimate authority or the bearer of truth.
Yeah, I think, sorry to cut you off on that subject, though. I think that it's really, again, what we said, their life path. So it might be their life path, somebody's life path, that their like soul needs to learn solely about 3D stuff, right? And they haven't had as many reincarnations or as many lives, or their spirit isn't as developed, or however you want to say it, right? So in this life, this is fine for them. This is their path. Who are, as you said, who am I or you or anyone to tell them it's different? Plus, I really believe that it's your life, right? Like, it's your life. So like, your life is your life. But really, not anybody else in the whole world can tell you how you should live it, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, that you're wrong. It's yours to live, right? And it's really, it's a gift given to you. And only.
Yes, but you see, even in logotherapy, that was kind of like criticism to logotherapy, for example, because they say in order for you to even be free at that level of choice, how you react. So in logotherapy, for example, there is a popular saying, like, it doesn't matter what happens to you, it matters how you react to what happens to you. But then there were some critics that say, okay, but even for that, you actually have to be on a certain level of awareness, even for that, to be able to discern, So with that, like, some people are not even encouraged in the whole entire life to think with their own minds, to kind of follow their own paths. So they just took on different belief system from their parents or their school system. Like they kind of blindly followed, or didn't kind of even have a chance to learn about those things, or to have that discernment for themselves, if you know what I mean. So that can be an issue with when you're coaching someone. And that's why I have this very unique approach for everyone, because then if someone is not even aware of their power and their strength, then we are trying to figure it out, like where would those doors be into those kind of venues, if that makes sense, and then slowly open them up to the opportunities and the possibility that they are actually very powerful, and that they can change their mind, their thought system, and then as a result, their life experience.
Really cool. Really well said, Tanja. And I think that, the beautiful thing I think about your approach is I see, and people will definitely disagree with me on this, but I see a limitation to just normal psychology. Okay, so it's like kind of like, once you got that person, and it's great, and then I know I have friends who are psychiatrists, psychologists, and it's fantastic. But I think, the spiritual aspect is limitless. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, to grow spiritually, like we'll never achieve, I think, in, for myself, I won't achieve what I really want to in just this life. I think, like, I always think, like, how far can I get in this, in the years that I have, and how far can I develop? And then keep developing and keep developing. And as you know very well, as you develop, you realize there's more and there's more, and yeah, and it's great. So I think that having that, because you could say someone could come to you, and I don't know what kind of different issues they come to you with, but they could say, like you and I know, is like abundance block, right? I don't have money. Well, like flow of energy, money is just energy, and so a flow of monetary energy, like, it usually comes down to, like, I don't deserve it. I don't, like, things like, there's blocks in your head, right? I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. Others, for other people, or it's money is evil, or there's only X amount of, like, these kind of abundance blocks for wealth, and there's abundance blocks for time, and then there's health blocks. Then there's, like, happiness blocks, and on, right? All these blocks, and that's why I'm always a big fan of, like, Pink Floyd, and I always think about, like, another brick in the wall,
The
it's
wall, yeah, yeah.
and it's these things, but who makes them all? And you said it kind of before, you alluded to that. We do. Like, what I try to tell people is that you stop where you say, "Oh, I can't do that." That's no one else made that block for you, right? You say, "Oh, that's it." Well, that's for other. I could never do that. The minute you say that, you're like, "Oh," your mind says, "Okay, well, that's where we end," right?
Yes, yes. You said it nicely, and what you said at the beginning, it's like, this. I kind of started with hardcore science and psychology, and then I saw I don't wish to kind of be a part of the specific group in that sense, that limit you in that way. Like, oh, this is the only approach that is kind of working, because I myself have been through a lot of different schools, as I said, and every time you can learn something new, you can add a different kind of spice into this meal of your approach as a coach or as a psychologist, or so. And even, like, I myself as a person, I never wanted to belong to any specific school, just because I do believe that everyone is on their own unique spiritual journey, and that we are actually just walking through, or traveling through this life experience, and collecting different experiences that we need in this lifetime. And so, like I said, these are all concepts. Psychology is a concept. Science is also changing all the time. Sometimes you have, like, some people, what they were saying, that the Earth is flat, or Earth is, like, it's like a lot of different, eras in the history of humanity were actually different, and in terms of the knowledge that was gathered. And now we have quantum physics that goes deeper, and that is also showing how matter is actually influenced by mind, and that it's not actually separate, what the hardcore science was claiming before that. So it's all kind of evolving and growing as the universe itself. And that's why I always want to leave the room for new data, new
Sure.
knowledge. And in my approach, that's very important for me, because I want to leave for people a choice, and the room for their own type of conclusion, what they can have on their own journey. So
Well said. Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now, the latest thing I saw is that, kind of more like the Matrix kind of idea, where, like
yes,
life, like, we've known that, and I've known that since I was very young, and it's in every spiritual kind of, doctrine, and Eastern, sorry, spiritual thing is kind of like life is an illusion, and we're tripping, and we're imagining this life. And now, like, there's a lot of evidence. The latest, it was a couple of months ago, and they said there's more evidence pointing now to say that life is a simulation. And, like,
yeah, yeah.
and that's what, that's so weird, right? It's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird. That's why, it's kind of like I always like to kind of combine both approaches. Like, for example, I'm sure you know, actually, because we were watching Joe Dispenza. I
Mm.
remember several months ago, and following some of his work. So he would be kind of my type of a scientist and a spiritual type person, because he combines science with spirituality, and he tries to kind of make sense out of both approaches, which would be my kind of preference as well, because I don't want to blindly kind of follow, scientific research and say, oh yeah, because it's like research, then it has to be valid. But at the same time, there are some people who are just they think they're kind of spiritual, but maybe they're flying off the handle with
Yes.
some of the stuff, and it also can cause more problems than the actual solutions, because we do live here in this 3D world still. So if you kind of can remain grounded and also aware at the same time, I think that's the most kind of optimal approach that I would be offering, because then you can use best of both worlds, so to speak.
I like what you're saying, and I realize that too. There's some people that use it as an excuse, and that always bothers me. And being in, like, we're both musicians, right? So we can
Yes,
talk about that
true.
after. But like a lot of people would use music as an excuse, like I have no money, and but it's okay because I'm a musician, you know, or I have no money, but it's okay because I'm spiritual. So like you don't understand me, but like that's not it. You know what I mean? Like that's to me it's an excuse, you know. Not to say like I was a starving artist for many years, and sometimes it's necessary to get like because you want to put all your focus in your art and you don't want any distractions, right? So you want to go like laser focus, and I understand that. I'm not knocking that at all, but I think that a lot of these things to be careful for those. Like nature is abundant, right? You know, so if we think about that, well, why shouldn't we have an abundance of wealth? And then also, if our point is to serve other people and it's an
Yes.
exchange of energy, you should be serving somebody and providing them value in any way, which way in your talents or you so desire, and they should be like compensating you, you know, the other way. So you should be having this natural exchange and helping people around you, and that should lead to also your physical 3D things being taken care of or monetary wealth, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because I think people are forgetting that we are all connected, and that's where spiritual experience, like first-hand experience, helps immensely. Like I had this experience when I was like 12 or 13 years old. I had some sort of NDE experience without any trauma or anything like that. But I was kind of thrown off my body almost, and experienced this beauty and pure bliss of just being connected with everything and everyone. And this kind of affected me in my orientation, and I was thinking like, okay, we are we are like, what happens to one person affects other people, and so we definitely can offer something as we go, because we are together on the spiritual journey to each other, and to kind of start from this, even from this place of being grateful
Mm.
for this experience, and then share this love and abundance. And because of what you said before, like not everyone needs to have some sort of physical material manifestation in order to feel that abundance. Like for me, abundance is also enjoying the sounds of nature, or being next to the water, or being close to people I love. Like it's all about, for me, it's more about experiences than the actual kind of material wealth, or some
Yeah.
sort of piling up stuff. I don't know if I told you before, but I'm a minimalist as well, so for me, less is more.
Yeah. There was a great quote I read not too long ago, when it said, "Anything in excess is poison." Right? So,
Yeah.
like excessive time, excessive money, excessive objects, excessive like I mean, I guess you could say like like not love, I guess, but like excessive love would be good. But like it's like it's too much. It can poison you. Plus, it can get you off your path. So it's easier when you have. I found from my own life, and I've always been blessed and so much gratitude for every different experience that I had, the good ones and the bad ones. Because they say like the hard ones is when you grow. You never grow when everything's going super well. So it's like, all right, everything's going well. But when those bad times, that's when you grow. And I'm thankful for those experiences, each and every experience. And to be without, and you don't have the let's say the money to go to restaurants, to buy new objects, to buy new things, then it gives you time to reflect and develop inwardly. Now, if you were born, and I've seen this firsthand, if you're born to abundance of wealth, sometimes it's the worst thing, right? Because you're always
Yes.
distracted. You have all these toys and objects and things and parties, and it's always out. It's always out. And you never have time. You never bother to look in. And then what happens is at a certain point, you realize you're very, very miserable.
Yeah, especially when you take those things for granted, like if you're born in like some wealth, or you kind of, it's just there, you don't have time to learn to how to appreciate it even. So yeah, I definitely agree on that. And yeah, it's a nice example.
Progress leads to happiness. Another thing I was learning a week ago, so I can't remember who said it, was that the focus should be on of your life should be on serving other people and progress, not on happiness. Because everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I just want to be happy." Because I was like, "Yeah, I just want to be happy." I want to be healthy and happy. And he's like, "No, you should be on like really servitude and progress, because servitude and progress will lead to the happiness." You know?
Great example. And what you said, it's not about being happy or not happy, and it's about how some experiences that you're going through can actually make you a person who is more whole, more kind of aware, in a ultimate sense, which also kind of helps your spiritual progress. Because if we are here in this dimension to learn and to evolve, then every type of experience, even the worst ones, they actually do kind of add up to this soul growth, as they
Mhm.
say. And you don't really know why you're going through those, some of the things that you're going through at the particular moment. And then usually, from like after some years, even some people say, oh, this is why it happened, because I needed it at that particular moment.
Mhm.
But they were so immersed in it, then they didn't see it
Right.
at that time.
I've programmed my own mind to be in a constant state of gratitude. Like
Yes.
all day, I'm just like, thank you, thank you. Like, and everything just keeps going well. And it's kind of repeat. So when I'm like thinking of nothing, no one thinks of nothing, but when thinking of nothing, all that's going in my mind is thank you, like gratitude, gratitude. That's all it is. Because even if it seems like now, like in an experience, I'm actually in an amazing place. But let's say everything's going really, really well for me. But let's say when times, well, everything is temporary, right? Everything shall come to pass, right? All the good times, all the bad times, even this shall pass, right? So there's always that thing of being humble and enjoy the good times, and then the bad times, okay, don't worry, because you're going to get back to the good times. Just kind of, live through it. But knowing that, and I would say that's, one of the greatest things that I've learned is to be in gratitude through everything. And that's the hardest time. It's easy to be in gratitude for when things are going well. When things are going bad, just constantly be in gratitude. And be like, okay, well, and I try to tell people, well, just learn the lesson. Because if you learn the lesson, then you don't need those perceivably bad circumstances to persist, right? Just learn the lesson. So, and ask the right questions. So meditate, ask depending on what you believe in, guides, angels, subconscious mind, ask yourself those questions. Why am I going through this? What do I need to learn? How do I
Yeah.
get through this? And then help. Please help me get through this. That's it. Right?
Yeah, it's a great approach. If you're starting from the gratitude, then you have the best chances of raising your level of energy, and what we now know from quantum physics that I mentioned before, like the higher your energy, like frequency of your thoughts and your kind of emotions, and as a result your body as well, the higher your better your life experiences, because then you're drawing those situations and people and experiences that are kind of on that level of consciousness and on that level of energy. So I would say energy is very important. It's more important than anything. And even like those guys who are in a law of attraction, they all say like you have to, in order to manifest even the most kind of basic material things, you have to be in a certain state of high level of energy, free energy, that you have to have in order to then kind of send those desires into ether, and then get them back in the form of manifestations. What you said, being grateful for even the worst of experiences, it actually changes those experiences then. And so you're not focused on the actual experience, you're focused on the lesson that you are learning from the experience, and this immediately puts your energy in a higher state, and then you can transcend it more easily.
Yeah, well said. Awesome. That's really, really cool. I think the same. I think the same thing exactly. It changes everything, and it's like that magnet. I think, okay, one of the best questions you can ask is, "Why is my life so great?" And just like walk
That's a
around
good
going, "Why is my life so
question.
great?" And then your subconscious mind, yeah, will give you that. And as you said, energetically, and we got to mention it, power versus force. We just like people like you and I just take it for granted that we know that the pyramid of and to be in those higher levels of vibrations, and that's something that's I think is I bring up a lot. And I'm always shocked the amount of people that have no idea. Most people will know, if not everyone, Maslow's pyramid, right, of needs,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
which is great, which is brilliant. But then like they don't know that power versus force. David Hawkins is vibrational pyramid, which is more useful than anything else you can pretty much more useful than entire grades of school that I've been through. Just knowing that one thing is like that
Yeah.
one piece of information that is awesome, because I see that with people, and I know they see it too, and it's just like it becomes very difficult when you hear people say those things like, "Oh, today's gonna be a bad day. I just know it." Like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
And why would you? And
Exactly.
you said it's like a vibrational match, and so many great teachers speak of
That-
it, whether it's Joe
yeah.
Dispenza or Wayne Dyer or Bob Proctor, or I mean, on and on, right? And it's just like you're a vibrational match. You get what's that vibrational match, and like you were saying before, to be in a state of joy, gratitude, love. Well, you're vibrating at that, so that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting to kind of mention neuroscience and all of that, because I was studying some of that as well, and it's like very important to know that our brain is very very flexible and neuroplastic, so you can learn a lot of new things in a relatively short period of time, and they also say like brain is basically a computer program, and so whatever you put in your brain, this is what you get. So that's important, because a lot of people are identified with their kind of thought patterns. That's why I'm working with people's thoughts, and CBT, sorry, comes into play in that sense, because a lot of people, even without knowing, they cherish those very very negative and sabotaging thoughts their whole life, like even like subconsciously they're used to thinking the same thoughts over and over again, and they're then, how they say, like if you're um, thinking the same thoughts over and over, how could you have a different life?
Mm.
it cannot happen. So in order to change that, first thing is to kind of become aware of those thoughts, like, to catch yourself when you're thinking something negative, and then say, oh, why am I thinking this, to kind of detach from what you're thinking, because majority of people are, sadly, they're still kind of identified with their thoughts and with their beliefs, and but these are all, like I said, these are all very kind of possible to change. And they say that in order to create a new habit, you need only like 21 days or something like that. So
60, 66. Yeah, 66.
yes.
That's the new
Okay.
science. They used to say 21, and
All right.
now it's 66.
Yeah, well, it changes all the time, so I would kind of even prone to say less than that, just because it's like, I want to put a positive positive kind of outcome and intention to it. But let's say it's very, very kind of fast.
Oh yeah.
If once you decide, like, okay, I really need to change my thinking patterns, I want to change my life experiences. And so in my coaching sessions, I'm trying to kind of work with people on their goals and what they actually even want, because some people don't even know what they want. They're like,
Yeah.
okay,
How can you get it? How can you get? Yeah, how can you get it if you don't even know? There's so many levels. That's why, like, what you were saying, like going back and like, there's so many levels of
exactly.
understanding, and I think the most important is knowing where you are first, right? Like,
Yes,
if you don't
yes,
know where you are, how can you get to somewhere else, right? So, like, I say I want to go to Ireland from here, from Montreal, okay, but I don't know where Montreal is. So, do I go north? Do I go east? I don't
exactly.
know.
That's a
But
great example.
because
Yeah,
I don't even know where I am. And then if
yeah,
you don't know where you want to go, you say, "Oh, I want to, I want success." Well, what does that look like to you? Where is
yes.
that, right? So again, if you have no idea and you say, "Oh, I want," like, this, the silliest, most immature, like, "I want to be rich." Okay, why?
Yeah,
You know, and then what are you doing towards that? Like, what steps are you taking towards that? And it's
yes.
like blank face, like nothing. Well, I'm just, eating chips, drinking beer, and watching Netflix. Well, how are you gonna get? So you don't want to be rich, like, you know what I mean? Don't be like, because if you did, you'd be doing something towards that, right? So there's this level, and that's like, again, I think that's one of the most important things, identifying where that person is, and I'm sure you do that really well. So you want to talk to that?
Yeah, no, no, it's a great point, because it's like that's why I'm kind of, even like in my definition of when I was explaining about my job, I say mindfulness coach, which would imply being in the present moment and actually see where your strengths are, now. And because, for example, um, since I went through classical training in psychology, I know about those more classical psychotherapies like psychoanalysis, and there's always kind of like some sort of focus on past, or like early childhood or traumas, or there is a certain quality in all of those approaches, and I don't want to diminish any one of those. But I actually personally love to use solution focused therapy, which actually is kind of all about present moment. Where are you in this particular moment? Where are your strengths and where are your capacities to then go from this moment to the future and into creating life that you desire. So this would be much more of a focus for me than kind of digging up the past. I mean, sometimes you have to kind of release some sort of issues in order to move forward, but definitely what you said, being in the present moment and just seeing things where you actually are at, and going from there is a great standing point. And once you become aware of your now, then you have the most optimal chance to create the
It's
best possible future.
exactly what they say, the power of now. Like, it's really where
Yes.
all your power, and you read it over and over and meditate on it and think about it. See, all your powers are now. Like you have not yesterday, not 5 minutes from now. It's like it's now, and then like what is now? There's this whole like I was watching this video. This guy was brilliant, and he was just like, well, like now, now, and he's like, well,
Yeah.
what's the now? And look at the slice, and actually the now, what I just said, and the now in like second later is actually worlds apart, right?
Yes.
And again, quantum physics or string theory and all that stuff. I could say now is closer to like, let's say when you and I had a conversation like a year ago. It's closer to that
Yes.
than the now, like now, like so. It's very confusing, and our mind has this tendency to stick things together to make to make sense of stuff. And our memory is so flawed, and I've spoken a lot about this on my podcast and on my 90 Seconds of Wisdom. I've done a whole video dedicated to it, and I'm saying that like it's crazy. Like every time you recall a memory, you change it because
Yes.
let's say something happened when you were like 7, so then you remember it when you were 9, but you remember it as a 9-year-old in that thing, and then when you're 15, then you're 20, and then 25, and every time you've changed, and every time you've recalled it, you've warped it, and then you filed it again. So what's the original memory? Like
Exactly.
super altered.
Yes.
So then when you have somebody, say, and that's why, like, again, I'm complimenting very much your approach of all these different things combined and seeing the full picture is because if you just say, well, tell me what happened when you were 10. Oh, my mother, my father, they were so mean to me. Well, were they? Or that's how, like, from a 10-year-old mind, it could be like, well, they just told you couldn't, have candy before dinner because they didn't want you to spoil your dinner. And you were just like, oh my God, they're so mean. And you got like, and then you got like, you know what I mean? As time went on, you're just what my parents are mean. And then what's the root of it? Because they didn't give you a bowl of candy before dinner. Were they really mean? No. So then what are you holding on to? And that's why I'm saying forgiveness is such a big one, right? And you and I know this very, very well. Forgive
Yes. Yes.
yourself, forgive others. You're holding on to a memory that most likely at least 40% of it is not true, right? At all. And there's so many studies on that. Like, and you're holding a grudge for something that probably, and even if it was accurate, who cares? Because it's not now, right? And it's not
Exactly.
the future. It's something else. So there's so many crazy stories. Like I remember, people I've known like sisters who are fighting and not speaking for years, and they're like they don't even know why anymore. you know, they can't even remember what set it off. Like I don't speak to them. Why? Oh, we had a fight years ago. Over what? I don't remember. But you're still holding the grudge. It's just wow.
Yes, for the sake of it.
Right.
I know, I know. Yeah, what they say, like, it's not about, you're not remembering your past, but your memories of your past. So it's like, it's like almost like, copy of the thing and not the thing itself.
Mhm.
And that's why it's so important to actually for like spiritual people and people who had this firsthand spiritual experience of being connected with everyone and everything, and like time being an illusion, and like I don't want to go too deep into this, but they probably might be able to release that kind of patterns of the past and those traumas more easily because they kind of experientially saw it for what it was, and that's an illusion, and that's all in your mind, and you're creating all these memories, and you have these false memories as well, a lot of false memories, and you're maybe holding on to this false identity. Even like some people live in fear, live in anxiety for a long time, and then they are so identified with it, and then they go to someone who actually confirms it to them, and then they're kind of caught in their own web of their own identity that they feel like they should kind of continue with, just because they believe like a person is a state and not actually a process. That's why I'm always saying like person is just a set of neurons that are kind of, and I mean in terms of 3D realm that I'm now saying, like it's always possible to reconnect those neurons evolve as another, like to take on another type of, learning and identity, and not be identified with those negative thoughts. And so it's like a very complex, as you said, like person is not just the body, it's not just the thoughts, not just the
Mhm.
emotions, but all of that combined.
Yes, but
Wow.
that's deep. Like I think of that. I try to tell people that when to really, if you really want to know, like, and you want the, like, let's say the fast track to understanding anything is
Yes.
and everything is to understand this, are like, are you're not your thoughts, because you could think different thoughts, right? You're not
Okay.
your emotions, you're not your past, you're not your body. So what are you? Right? Because
Yes.
so like you can change so much, so then you start thinking, and then my conclusion, and maybe I'll be able to say it better or differently one day, is we're all that light, it's that infinite light beings, right?
Yes.
Inhabiting this body, and that same piece of life that's in me is in you, is in a plant, is in,
Yeah.
right, the bunny rabbit, whatever, right? And then once that ceases to be, then you're no longer alive. Then, and that's what it is, right? It's just like, so if you can really contemplate and understand that everything, as you said, everything can change. You could be, and I've seen, and we've all seen, heard in stories, is you could be the most poor person in the world, and within 3 years be the richest person in the world. It's
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
You could be the most miserable person and be, it's all like, it's all about what you believe, where you put your limits, what your habitual thoughts are, and then getting rid of those blocks. And what are those blocks? Like, and how do you get rid of those? Gratitude, forgiveness are huge ones, right? To get rid of it.
Yes.
That are just
Yes.
like anchors holding you down, limitations, holding you down, and then self love, like loving yourself enough to allow yourself. And then what is, I'll go too deep again, but what is self, right? So like,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so if you, and where are you standing? Where's your perception? So are you looking at it as, you know, Tanya looking out, Tanya looking in, or are you looking at it as like the infinite light being source looking down and saying, well, that's Tanya, but it's also Andrew, and it's also, and that's where that we're all connected. And then saying, you
Yeah.
know what, from that point of view, why doesn't Tanya deserve everything? Right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly. I agree. On different levels, yeah. Yeah, it's completely it. And even like Neville Goddard is talking about this I amness, and a lot of like gurus and spiritual people. So this I am is actually this awareness of or consciousness that we all are in the core of our being.
Yes.
And then if we look at our life from that perspective, and if we identify as spiritual beings, having a human experience, and not just as a body, or as a, what happened to us in the past, then we will definitely, we can then change much more successfully. Because people who are stuck in those patterns of defining themselves as less than, then they're stuck in their own definition of the self, and that's what creates a lot of problems and limitations for human beings. Because if you don't believe that you're powerful, that you can change the world, that you can change your life, then it's very hard for you to do that. So it's all about, I would say, that that's why definition of who we actually are is very important. And once you introduce people to this new definition, that's, wow, look, you're powerful, you're a multidimensional being, you're a soul, you can evolve, you can change, you can grow, you can have different experiences, then people are slowly kind of loosening those ties with the past, with traumas, with what happened to them, and then they can kind of blossom into new flowers, let's say.
It's nice. That's beautifully said. Nice
Thank you.
picture. Yeah, I completely agree. It's understanding this is just one life. It's very significant and extremely insignificant, right? Again, on your perception. So like we all die. Like, so what? And we've probably lived, and don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but many, many, many lives before this, and we'll probably live many lives afterwards, right? So like, don't make such a big deal of this one. It's like it's
Yeah,
only
I think, yeah, a lot of those kind of false levels of importance comes from the ego. So it's like uh, we are actually extremely important, as you said. Like we're like more powerful than like than most of people even know about. But it's like. If you're coming to claim that power from a wrong perspective of the ego power, that's when people get entangled in their own over importance. But that's not actually the importance of what we are talking about here. The real importance is in the being and in the contributing to life in some sort of meaningful way for yourself and for others, without having the sense of, oh, I'm better than you, and but in terms of this connection, like we are all connected and we can all contribute, and then we can just relax in the now and share our experience between us, and go on a journey, like so it can be kind of perceived as we are on a journey, and which kind of puts the pressure off dying, or all these kinds of thoughts of something being final, or you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's like, again, it's about the definition of things. And
Yeah. I came, it was a month or so ago, I was meditating, and I thought of a really, like, it's going to sound horrific at first, and then it's actually a really beautiful thought, is like, is there anything that could kill our soul? You know? And then I was meditating on that, and I was like, no, no, there isn't. There isn't. Like that, I would be scared. I have no fear, or I like to think that most things I'm not. The big things I'm not afraid of. And it's to understand that, well, if there was something that could kill the essence of life in me that was going to continue, then that would be scary. But there's not. So what does it really matter? And then I think those things of like self development and keeping your body in good shape is like, well, you use your mind. You were saying like neuroplasticity. Your mind creates your reality, creates everything. You're using it all day, all night. Even when you're asleep, your subconscious mind continues. So it's just like it's this 24-hour thing. So why would you not invest in sharpening the one tool that you're always using, right? If your whole life was to saw wood, why would you not invest in the best saw, right? If that was your whole reality, just sawing and sawing, you would like figure out how to make this saw better. So like that's one thing. And the other thing was a great quote, said, well, if you destroy your body, where will you live? Like
exactly,
right?
exactly.
It's so simple, but it's true, right? Like you can't like, oh, I'll just go, like maybe some very high spiritual people could inhabit a wolf or a bunny rabbit or something that I beyond my understanding. But normally you're in that life thing, you have like this physical body, so treat it right,
I think that's a great point, because some people say, this is only a relative plane, like a relative realm, so it doesn't really matter what you do here, or like nothing gets affected because we are consciousness. So whatever you do here, like you can eat this, that, or the other, or you can do whatever, you can have like take drugs and stuff, and it won't matter. But I totally get what you're saying. It's like, for me personally, I would say to live life with integrity, and that comes from feeling what integrity means for you, like what type of life do you want to lead. So if you want to be kind of person who follows a certain discipline, and I mean, even without the discipline, we are all consciousness and I am at the same time, all the time. So we don't actually need to do anything but just be on that type of plane. But in 3D, we are still kind of doing the processes and doing different stuff. So what I would say is, like, do things from the best of your knowledge. Like, if I believe that, for example, my body, if my body is pure, I would probably have more kind of peace of mind. I would be able to meditate better. I would be able to clear my thoughts, to have maybe more good quality thoughts. Like it is kind of linked in that relative, 3D dimension. But like I said, it's kind of complicated, because we are talking here about kind of both the sensations of the body and mind and emotions, and at the same time we are talking about the spiritual realm, which is kind of also linked. But I would say, like, to kind of make things more simple, so to do everything that you do out of your sense of integrity. So whatever feels right to you, whatever feels like the right thing to do in that particular moment, for your body, for your mind, and whatever creates this sense of peace, inner peace and happiness, to just do that,
Mm.
simple as that. And that will give you the same as gratitude. I think if we kind of implement some of those techniques, you will have better chances of then hiring your levels of energy and then your life
Yeah.
experience.
Integrity and ethics are the highest, and there's no because it's a slippery slope. So just never break. They're not like non-negotiable, right? That's what you say. Like
Yeah,
those are,
exactly.
number one. And then I would never sacrifice my vibrational level for anything or anybody. There's no temptation that would, I don't want to tempt fate by saying that, but knock on wood or whatever. But it's like, there's nothing that good that would ever. Everything's about, I say, like higher vibration, because that just makes you feel better, happier, get what you want, live a better life experience, and all that stuff. So I do absolutely agree on that, and having that. I have like having a mission statement, and I think every single person, like a business, should have a mission statement, and having that north star. Why do I do the things I do? Right? Why am I waking up in the morning? What is the point of my day? What is the point of my week, my month, my year, my life? Right? And just kind of go in this thing and say, hey, well, what am I here for? So, like for myself, and that's what keeps my channel going. That's what keeps, um, you know, getting wonderful guests like you, like on the show. That just it just always comes together, because my intention is to help as many people as possible raise their vibrational level, right? So I know that a lot of stuff that we spoke about today, a lot of people unfortunately won't be able to listen to it because they're not going to be a vibrational match. But the ones that do hear it, will be able to, get something out of it. And I always say self help, because we can only, like, no one can really help you. They can just show you, and then you have to do the work and help yourself, right? So you can show the person the right answer. It's like you can put it right in front of them. Like, here's a cookie. And now here's the cookie. It's super good. You should eat it. And they could be like, they see the cookie and they're just like, yeah, I'm going to go over there. It's not your fault. It's not, there's no blame on you, right? It's just, there's only so much. So I look at it like that, like, it's self-help. It's yourself. It's all up to you, your experience, but learning from and discussing, like having discussions with you. It's always like brings my level up in my imagination to different places where I'm able to then like get more things by reading. And then you said, I just wanted to this last point that you said about I am. I just want to talk about, there was a guest I had, David Jilks, and he's got something called the I am project that he developed. And it's based on like NLP and stuff like that. It's amazing. So you should, like,
Okay,
just a side note, check that out.
definitely, I will. Yeah, yeah.
He's like a national bodybuilder, and like a champion. Like, he's just like super ripped guy, and he basically understood. Very, very intelligent, brilliant guy. He's mad at me if I say that about him, because he's very humble. But he's a brilliant guy, and he was able to understand how to train the body and take that to the mind. And a lot of it, he said, it's about core training. So like, if your core is strong, like, it starts with that. You can't like start lifting stuff if you don't have a strong core. And then understanding how that mentally to make your core strong and then go out is really, really interesting. Oh yeah,
Well,
that's
I'm definitely gonna check him out. He sounds like a very interesting person, and
yeah,
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 I would be up for that, definitely. I
yeah,
I really like to always broaden my horizons as well. and to kind of, to be able to then be updated myself, because like you said before, like we're not finished product.
No.
We're all the time learning and growing and evolving, and having different perspectives, and sometimes even completely new perspectives that overthrows some
Yeah.
of our
Yeah.
older perspectives. So and I think it's very important if people are kind of open-minded like that, to support that openness and kind of flexibility in other people too, because then we can all kind of take the best out of it, and then it's a support as well, as you said, like to have those kindred spirits around you that support you on your path, and to kind of encourage you to all the time develop and have like deeper and deeper levels of experience. And I think it's very important for spiritual growth, and for our life in this 3D dimension, because it's not it might be an illusion, but it's what we are experiencing now. So I'm seeing it as equally important, of course.
It's always very easy to speak with you, and we're pretty much
You too,
running
yeah.
running over time. So I wanted to ask you, Tanja, is there any last thought, last advice, last things that you want to share with the audience? You said so many great things, but yeah, any last thoughts?
Well, I just want to encourage people to always believe in themselves. I also, like I find it as my life mission to kind of help people raise their levels of awareness and consciousness, and help them on their life journey. So I would definitely always encourage people to, see everything as a part of the process of becoming a better version of yourself. Like we are all kind of on that path. And so if I can wish to anything to people, is that they always believe in their own self, because this is how you believe in the universe and in the creator. And if you believe in God, then God. If you believe in universe, then universe. So whatever created us, I think it's this is how we show our loyalty to it, by believing in ourselves and our capacity to always kind of expand our minds and our hearts. And and I also wanted to say, like, I'm definitely open to work with people, and
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask
like
you.
I
Sorry,
said,
the last thing.
yes.
Where can people reach you? Where's the best place to reach you?
Well, they can reach me on Facebook. So I have my business page on Facebook called ETT, Empowering Thought Therapies. And they can also reach me on Instagram, where I have the same name for my page and business. So then we can schedule an introductory session, and we can go from there. So basically that's it. And yeah, I mean, I hope I can, like you said, like we're not, obviously not everyone is interested in the same type of therapy or coaching, but I believe, we will always find people who are, they're supposed to be there for some reason, and we are supposed to be there for them. So right people will find each other, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, amazing. Okay, look, thank you so much, Tanja. And I'll put like the links in the description and everything
Okay, yeah,
everywhere.
great.
And so that's it. So look, with that, I'll say thank you so much again for taking the time to speak with myself and the audience. And I will wish you a great day and a successful and peaceful mind.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for having me. And it was a pleasure, as always, talking to you. And you're a great host. And I wish all the best for your podcast as well, because it's like it's a great thing to do, and I think it helps a lot of people. So I'm very happy for you, and that you're contributing in that sense is awesome.
Okay, thanks, Tanja. Okay,
Okay.
bye.